The biggest fraud in Wall Street history. Bernie Madoff's story. Do you remember the biggest financial scandal in Wall Street's history? The one that shocked the world and left investors reeling. The story of Bernie Madoff, a man who rose to the top, earning the trust of some of the wealthiest individuals, charities, and financial institutions, only to bring it all crashing down with a scheme that would be called the biggest Ponzi scheme in history. It's a story of greed, deception, and the pursuit of power. So, get ready to delve into the dark world of Bernie Madoff in the biggest fraud in Wall Street history. Once a highly respectable stockbroker, Bernie Madoff rose to the top of the financial world only to bring it all crashing down with a scheme that would shock the world. He promised his investors consistent high returns and built a web of deceit that spanned decades. But eventually, his lies were exposed and the truth was revealed. Join us as we delve into the dark world of Bernie Madoff and uncover the truth behind one of the biggest financial scandals in history. The story of Bernie Madoff serves as a reminder of the importance of due diligence and skepticism when it comes to investing. It is a story that will be remembered for generations to come, and it serves as a warning to anyone who might be tempted to put their trust in someone who seems too good to be true. Brief background on Bernie Madoff. Bernard Madoff was an American financier and stockbroker best known for running the most significant financial fraud in history, a Ponzi scheme that lasted over 2 decades. Madoff was born in Queens, New York in 1938 and started his career as a stockbroker in the 1960s. Over time, he built a successful investment advisory business that managed billions of dollars in assets for individuals, charities, and institutional investors. Madoff's reputation as a successful and respected investment advisor attracted numerous clients and investors who trusted him with their money. However, in reality, Madoff was running a massive Ponzi scheme, using money from new investors to pay returns to earlier investors and covering up the fraud through fake account statements and other false records. The Ponzi scheme was eventually uncovered in December 2008, and Madoff was arrested and charged with securities fraud, investment advisor fraud, and perjury.
Bernard Madoff has just been sentenced for the biggest investment fraud in Wall Street history. A federal judge ordered Madoff, who is 71 years old, to serve a maximum 150 years in prison.
The aftermath of the Madoff scandal had far-reaching impacts on the financial industry, raising questions about the regulations of the securities industry and the responsibility of investors to do their due diligence before investing their money. Bernie Madoff's early career as a stockbroker. Bernie Madoff started his career as a stockbroker in the 1960s when Wall Street was still recovering from the recession and needed fresh talent. He was driven, determined, and eager to make a name for himself in the cutthroat world of finance. Madoff quickly established a reputation as a talented stockbroker with the gift for spotting investment opportunities. His clients trusted him, and he didn't disappoint. With his keen eye for detail and natural intuition, he was able to generate impressive returns for his clients and soon became one of the most sought-after brokers on Wall Street. As his reputation grew, so did his network. Bernie Madoff was soon rubbing shoulders with the elite of the financial world, building relationships and expanding his reach. He was a man who had a vision, and he was determined to make it a reality. But behind the scenes, Bernie Madoff was already starting to build a web of deceit that would eventually spiral out of control. The seeds of his massive Ponzi scheme were being sown, and soon his early success as a stockbroker would be forgotten as the world learned of the enormous financial fraud he had orchestrated. Creation of Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities. The creation of Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities marked a new chapter in Bernie Madoff's career. After years of working as a stockbroker, he saw an opportunity to strike out on his own and build an investment firm that would put him in control. So, in the early 1980s, he founded Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities with a vision to provide high-quality investment services to clients. At first, the company was a small operation, with Bernie working alongside a team of employees. But as the years went by, the company grew, and Bernie's reputation as a financial expert grew. Investors flocked to Bernie, eager to be part of his success, and the company became a well-respected player in the financial world. But behind the scenes, Bernie was already starting to build a web of deceit that would eventually spiral out of control. The scale of the fraud. Bernie Madoff's fraud scale was enormous and estimated to have affected thousands of individuals, charities, and institutional investors. Over 2 decades, Madoff's Ponzi scheme is estimated to have defrauded investors by approximately $65 billion. Madoff's fraud was notable not only for its size, but also for its longevity and the level of trust he could build with his clients. Despite concerns raised by some investors and financial analysts, many of his clients continued to invest with him, either because of his track record of consistent returns or because they felt that they couldn't afford to miss out on the high returns that he promised. In addition to the personal losses suffered by individual investors, the scam led to a loss of confidence in the securities industry and raised questions about the regulation of financial markets. It also resulted in numerous lawsuits and settlements, as well as changes to financial rules to prevent future similar frauds. The investigation and arrest. The investigation and arrest of Bernie Madoff resulted from a multi-year effort by government agencies, regulators, and private investigators to uncover the massive Ponzi scheme that he had been operating for decades. In December 2008, Madoff's sons turned him into the authorities, informing the FBI that their father had admitted that his investment advisory business was a massive fraud. The FBI immediately launched an investigation, and Madoff was arrested and charged with securities fraud. Over the next several months, government agencies, including the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), worked to piece together the details of Madoff's fraud. They found that Madoff had been operating a Ponzi scheme, using new investments from clients to pay returns to existing clients and creating the illusion of a profitable investment. In March 2009, Madoff pleaded guilty to 11 charges, including securities fraud, investment advisor fraud, and perjury. In June of that year, he was sentenced to 150 years in federal prison and ordered to pay his victims $170 billion in restitution. The arrest and conviction of Bernie Madoff were seen as a significant victory for the government in its efforts to combat financial fraud and restore public confidence in financial markets. It also resulted in numerous lawsuits and settlements, as well as changes to financial regulations to prevent future similar frauds. The aftermath of the scandal. The aftermath of Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme was widespread and long-lasting. The fraud had far-reaching consequences for his victims, the financial community, and the public's trust in the financial markets. Many of Madoff's victims, including individual investors, charities, and institutional investors, suffered significant financial loss due to his fraud. Some were left with only a fraction of their original investments, while others lost their life savings. As a result, many were forced to sell their homes, downsize their lifestyles, and delay their retirement plans. The scandal also profoundly impacted the financial community, raising questions about the regulation of the securities industry and the responsibility of investors to do their due diligence before investing their money. It also led to numerous lawsuits and settlements, as well as changes to financial regulations to prevent future similar frauds. In the wake of the scandal, the SEC faced criticism for failing to detect and prevent Madoff's fraud, despite numerous red flags and warning signs. The agency responded by implementing many reforms to improve its ability to detect and prevent financial fraud, including increasing staffing, improved technology, and changes to its enforcement and inspection processes. Reflection on the story of Bernie Madoff. The story of Bernie Madoff and his massive Ponzi scheme is a cautionary tale that reminds us of the dangers of investment fraud and the importance of thoroughly researching any investment opportunity before committing your money. Madoff's fraud was one of the largest financial scams in history, affecting thousands of individuals, charities, and institutional investors. His ability to deceive so many people for so many years is a testament to the power of charisma and the trust people place in those they believe to be reputable and successful. The Madoff scandal also highlights the importance of financial regulation and the need to greater transparency and accountability in the securities industry. The fact that Madoff's fraud went undetected for so many years, despite numerous red flags and warning signs, raises questions about the regulatory system's ability to protect investors from financial fraud. Final thoughts on the importance of due diligence and skepticism in investing. The Bernie Madoff scandal is a powerful reminder of the dangers of financial fraud and the importance of thoroughly researching any investment opportunity before committing your money. Due diligence and skepticism are crucial components of intelligent investing. Due diligence refers to thoroughly researching an investment opportunity before committing your money. This includes evaluating the risks, returns, and track records of the investment, as well as the background and experience of the promoter or investment advisor. On the other hand, skepticism involves approaching investment opportunities with a critical and questioning mindset. It involves avoiding taking things at face value and carefully evaluating the information and claims made about an investment opportunity. In the case of Bernie Madoff and his Ponzi scheme, many of his victims were taken in by his reputation as a successful and respected investment advisor and failed to evaluate the risks and returns of their investments properly. Had they done their due diligence and approached the opportunity with skepticism, they may have uncovered the fraud and avoided losing their money. In conclusion, by carefully evaluating investment opportunities and approaching them with a critical and skeptical mind, investors can protect themselves from financial fraud and make more informed decisions about their investments. That will be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos like this. See you in the next video.